Hey everyone, and welcome to today's deep dive. We're going to be diving into a topic that's super relevant in our tech-driven world, Mindset 4.0.
Yeah, well, the concept is all about how to navigate the fourth industrial revolution and all the changes that come with it.
And believe me, this isn't the Industrial Revolution they taught you about in history class.
No, not at all.
Uh-uh.
Definitely not. We're not talking about, those old coal-powered factories or anything like that.
Right.
There's a whole different ballgame. We're talking about artificial intelligence, about communication that happens at lightning speed, about changes happening faster than we've ever seen before.
Almost like trying to hold on to a rocket.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of holding on, you know how our sources for this deep dive use that analogy of a gorilla riding a motorbike?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
So, technology is obviously this powerful force, but are we that gorilla, just barely holding on, not really sure which way to steer?
It's a great image, and it really gets to the heart of what Mindset 4.0 is all about.
Okay, so it's more than just getting the latest gadget or whatever.
Right. It's much bigger than that. It's the realization that to thrive in this new landscape, we need a whole new way of thinking, working, adapting.
So we're upgrading our mental operating system, so to speak.
Exactly. And to really grasp the scale of this change, let's think back to the first industrial revolution for a second.
Okay.
Imagine going from centuries of life revolving around agriculture to suddenly having machines that could do the work of, dozens of people.
Wow.
It completely changed the social and economic landscape.
A total upheaval of, well, pretty much everything.
Yeah, exactly. And historian Yuval Noah Harari, the author of *Sapiens*, would argue that the stakes are even higher today.
Oh, interesting.
He's actually said that in this century, those who can't adapt to this accelerating pace of change face a real risk of being left behind.
Wow.
It's kind of a sobering thought.
It is.
But it shows why it's so important to understand this new mindset, Mindset 4.0,
Yeah.
because it's not just about learning some new skill, it's about embracing a completely different way of looking at the world.
Okay, so we get it, new era, new mindset. But what does that actually look like in a practical sense?
Well, one of the core principles of Mindset 4.0 is the shift from what we call resource optimization to flow optimization.
Okay, so unpack that a little. What exactly does flow optimization mean?
Okay, imagine you're going through, let's say, a complicated medical procedure. In a traditional, resource optimized system, you might have appointments scheduled weeks apart, going from specialist to specialist, and each one is focused on their own schedule.
Right.
It's efficient from their point of view, but for you, the patient, it can feel chaotic and really frustrating.
Yeah, you're stuck in waiting room limbo, basically.
Exactly. But with flow optimization, the focus shifts to the patient's journey.
Okay.
You might see multiple specialists in a single day,
Oh, wow.
minimizing wait times,
Yeah.
ensuring a smoother, less stressful experience.
So it's streamlining the whole process.
Yes, making it more human-centered.
I like that.
And what's really interesting is that studies have shown that companies that prioritize this kind of customer-centric approach, a key part of flow optimization, tend to do better financially in the long run.
So it's not just warm, fuzzy feelings.
Right.
It's a smart business strategy.
Exactly. It's about playing the long game, building loyalty, creating systems that benefit everyone involved, and ultimately achieving sustainable success.
It's a win-win.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, thinking about Mindset 4.0 in the context of, let's say, our careers, what are some of the defining characteristics of people who've made that shift? I know our sources had that table comparing the different mindsets.
Yeah, that's a good place to look. And this is where things get interesting, because what we see is this clear contrast between, the traditional hierarchical structures of the past and the more fluid, adaptable approach of Mindset 4.0.
So less rigid, more responsive.
Exactly. For example, instead of being tied to a strict 9 to 5, Mindset 4.0 embraces flexible work arrangements.
Which I think a lot of people are finding more and more important these days.
Absolutely. And it's not just about when you work, but how you work.
Right.
Individuals with a Mindset 4.0 mentality are all about outcomes, results, not just putting in the hours.
So it's about what you accomplish, not just how long you're physically present.
Exactly. They're also tech-savvy, collaborative by nature, and always eager to learn and adapt to new situations.
So change is an opportunity, not a threat.
Exactly.
It sounds like having this adaptable mindset is becoming, well, less of an option and more of a necessity.
Oh, I definitely agree with that.
Right.
Think about it. In a world that's constantly shifting, the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn is incredibly valuable.
It's like becoming a lifelong student of change.
In a way, yeah. And that's a perfect segue to our next point. Let's take a step back for a moment and look at how we got here, historically speaking. Our sources put together this really cool timeline of the Industrial Revolutions, and it's like it makes you realize how fast the pace of change is accelerating.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you see it laid out like that.
Right.
For like thousands of years, things moved at this like relatively slow pace, and then boom, the first industrial revolution kicks in, and suddenly we're in the fast lane.
Yeah, exactly. And that speed has only been increasing with each revolution.
It's true. And now here we are, just a short time into the fourth industrial revolution.
Yeah, and it feels like we're living in a science fiction novel every single day.
It really does. And speaking of science fiction, remember that story about AlphaGo? The AI that mastered Go?
How can I forget? That was a huge deal in the AI world.
Right.
Because Go is so much more complex than, like, chess.
Oh, yeah, way more complex.
There are more possible moves in Go than there are atoms in the observable universe. It's crazy.
That's insane.
For AI to not only be able to play the game, but to beat a world champion at it, it was a huge deal.
Yeah, it sent shockwaves through, well, pretty much everywhere.
It really did, yeah.
And what I find even wilder is that AlphaGo didn't win just by brute force calculation, you know? There was that one move, move 37, that was so out of left field, so creative.
It really was.
It left everyone speechless.
It really did. It's true. Michael Redmond, who's a professional Go player, described Move 37 as this, like, beautifully creative, astonishing move.
Really?
It was as if, and this is the crazy part, it was as if AlphaGo wasn't just running calculations, but like it had grasped some deeper strategy of the game.
Wow.
Some intuitive understanding that even the most experienced players hadn't even considered.
Okay, now that's both like really exciting and also a little unnerving at the same time.
Right.
It's like AI went from following the rules of the game to just rewriting them completely.
Yeah, and that's what's so fascinating about it.
It makes you wonder, like, what happens when AI starts thinking outside the box in ways we can't even predict?
Exactly.
How do we prepare for that?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And this is where I think Mindset 4.0 becomes really crucial.
Okay.
It's not just about keeping up with technology. It's about developing this mental agility, that flexible thinking that allows us to adapt and thrive in a world where AI is becoming more and more sophisticated.
So less about competing with AI and more about figuring out how to collaborate with it, to leverage what it's good at.
Exactly. We need to get comfortable not having all the answers and be open to solutions that might come from unexpected places.
Yeah, that makes sense. So if Move 37 was the spark, to use that analogy again,
I like it.
we need to be ready for the fire of the fourth industrial revolution, right? Because it's only going to keep burning brighter and hotter from here on out.
That's a great way to put it. And the good news is, Mindset 4.0 isn't some exclusive club or a skill that's only for tech geniuses.
That's good to hear.
It's really a set of attitudes and practices that anyone can develop and cultivate.
So how do we actually make that shift? How do we go from like clinging to a speeding motorbike to feeling confident like we can steer through whatever's coming next?
That's the question. Well, I think it starts with cultivating what's called a growth mindset.
Okay, I've heard that term before. What does that mean exactly?
So it's this belief that our abilities aren't fixed, but rather they can be developed through dedication, hard work.
Okay.
It's about being open to new ideas, about being willing to experiment,
Okay.
and even being okay with, failing from time to time.
So you're saying failure is part of the process?
In a way, yeah. Because in a world that's constantly evolving, we can't let the fear of making a mistake hold us back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. We need to be willing to try new things, make mistakes, learn, and keep moving forward.
Exactly. And alongside that growth mindset, I'd say communication and collaboration become even more vital in this interconnected world.
Yeah, because when you can clearly explain your ideas, when you can actively listen to different perspectives and you can actually work together, you can accomplish so much more.
Exactly. Think about how many innovative solutions have come from teams where you had people with totally different backgrounds, different experiences, different approaches coming together to solve a problem.
Yeah, it's like that saying, none of us is as smart as all of us.
Exactly.
But being open to those diverse perspectives, it requires a certain level of, like, openness, empathy, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. You're spot on.
Yeah.
We have to be willing to question our own assumptions, to see things from different angles.
Right.
To embrace the idea that the best solutions might come from completely unexpected places.
That makes sense. So we've got this growth mindset. We're communicating, we're collaborating, but with all this emphasis on being adaptable, on like being tech savvy. Are there specific skills that people with a mindset 4.0 tend to have?
Yeah, for sure. A big one is, like, it's not just about using technology, but about really understanding it.
Okay.
Like, not being intimidated by it, you know?
Right.
And I don't mean everyone needs to go out and become a coder,
Yeah.
but like being comfortable navigating the digital world, trying out new tools, understanding how technology can help us do what we do even better, that's a game changer.
So it's about seeing technology as like a toolbox we can use, not this scary thing that's going to take over.
Exactly.
So like learning to be digitally fluent.
I like that. Yeah, digital fluency. And that actually ties into another key skill, critical thinking.
Oh, okay. How so?
Well, think about it. With so much information out there, and I mean so much
Do you feel
information,
overwhelmed?
it really is,
Yeah.
right? Being able to filter through all that noise, figure out what's reliable, and form your own informed opinions, that's more important now than ever before.
That makes sense. It's not just about like taking in information. It's about being discerning,
Yes.
asking the right questions.
Right, like what's the source? What's the bias?
Exactly. Because blindly accepting everything is just as limiting as just rejecting everything, you know?
That's a good point.
And this goes beyond just technology, too.
Okay.
We need to be critical thinkers about our work, our relationships, even our own personal growth.
So it's like across the board, basically.
Exactly.
So we've got being adaptable, being tech savvy, being critical thinkers. It sounds like Mindset 4.0 is about becoming these well-rounded individuals who are ready for anything. That's a great way to put it.
Mm.
Because when you have those qualities, you're not that gorilla clinging to the motorbike anymore.
Right.
You're in the driver's seat. You know what I mean?
I like it.
You're the one navigating the road ahead.
And it takes us right back to that AlphaGo game to move 37.
Oh, yeah.
That one move was a total game changer. It was a sign that AI was capable of so much more than we thought possible.
Totally. And it got me thinking, what if we all had our own Move 37 moments?
Okay, I like where you're going with this. What do you mean?
Well, we get stuck in our routines, you know.
Yeah.
We play it safe, stick to what we know.
All right, it's comfortable.
Exactly. But what if we challenged ourselves to find that one bold move, our own Move 37, that could really shake things up for the better?
So pushing past our comfort zones, taking a risk, being open to something new, even if it seems a little scary at first.
Exactly. Because that's where the real growth happens, the real breakthroughs.
It's about being willing to challenge our assumptions, to reimagine what's possible in our work, our personal lives, everywhere.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, as we navigate this time of massive change, the people who are willing to adapt, to learn, to embrace the unknown, those are the ones who will truly thrive.
It's not just about surviving change, it's about being excited by it.
Yes.
Seeing it as a chance to grow, to reinvent yourself.
Absolutely. And who knows, that Move 37 moment, that leap you take, it might just open up opportunities and potential you never even knew you had.
That's a really powerful thought. And on that note, we're going to wrap up our deep dive into Mindset 4.0. We hope you found it, I don't know, maybe even inspiring.
Yeah, definitely.
And that you're ready to go out there and make your own Move 37.
Absolutely, go for it.
Thanks for listening, everyone.